gonna switch to English, and I'm gonna invite David Marlon. He will tell you a little bit about himself, but I'm gonna just introduce for 1 minute, and I'm gonna tell you why the hell we invited David here. First thing, because as we said, we believe so much in the wallet as empowering project for Romania in terms of digitalization. We try to look at the best possible specialists around Europe. We had a lot of discussion with stakeholders from Greece, from Poland, from Moldavia, France as well, and we also ended up talking with David, who led 2 of the large-scale pilots, or was part of the leading team in 2 large-scale pilots that happened last year in Europe, and has a lot of knowledge on the wallet ecosystem across Europe. So he will not just come with a view from his beloved Swedish background, but he will try to generate as many insights as possible from different parts of Europe. So, David, enjoy the mic, and I was kindly asked to tell you not to migrate on the corner as I did, because this session will be filmed, and we want to see your face and use it.
Are you sure about that? I think I have this one.
You have this.
They mic'd me up. And it sounds all right? Yeah? Okay, good. Hi, thank you very much for inviting me, Robert and everyone. Nice to be here. I was at another event on EIS2, and now it's better, I think. EIS2 or the wallet today, so I was like, oh, Romania is really sounds like it's... is this okay? Is an echo, or is it just me? It's okay? Okay. Sorry, so for me this sounds a bit weird, but it will be fine. I'm okay to speak anyway. But yeah, I was like, okay, so the EIS and the wallets are big in Ukraine, in Romania, so nice to be here and speak about it. This presentation is part of a kind of general presentation that I've done in several occasions. I usually say it's like a roller coaster presentation, because then it's an intro, then it goes down because there are issues and hurdles and so on, and then it kind of goes up because we actually did things and we know things and it goes better, and then it kind of ends up with like we need to do more. In the end, I will also say something about my understanding of like the Romanian ecosystem as asked. So let's see if I did this right. I didn't. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. Robert said most of it. I worked for the Swedish government and so on. I led large-scale pilots. I now work at Cyrus Foundation since 2 months. Cyrus Foundation is a non-profit foundation. We work with open source solutions. We want to help the ecosystem thrive. We actually believe that the wallets and the whole ideas behind the wallets, being privacy, user control, connectivity in Europe, but also global, is very important. We do projects. We're part of the large-scale pilots and so on, of course, but we also do projects with Singaporean government, with Canada, with Linux Foundation, with OCCRP, that's kind of protecting journalists when they do their investigations and so on. So a bit of everything, but and global as well. This, I think, needs to be part of the presentation. I know that many of you understand the wallet system and so on good, but still I think it's important to remember this is not only like a national exercise. It's natural to think of that in that way for many occasions, because the member states have a lot of demands on them and a lot of opportunities, but it's also clear that this is very much at the core of the EU strategies, really, for ensuring an internal market that's functioning, the digital internal market, but it of course goes along with all of the things that we want to achieve with the EU, such as me as a Swede going here, working maybe, then I'll go back, want pensions and so on. The freedom to move is also a digital part really, so we need to kind of adhere to that. It's also, this slide, the Commission shows this sometimes. You can see that it's a Commission slide. I like it very much because it also shows there, and I think many others there, how they go into this. So the digital wallet, the digital identity, very important, identity is important, but it's not the only thing, right? It is a part of an infrastructure. I will repeat this sometimes today because that is my thorough view. It's a solution, but it's also an infrastructure. You can make a lot of things with it. It harmonizes data. It's not only about the identity, it's also about the identity attached to your, the data attached to your identity. That could be like diplomas and so on, but it harmonizes that over EU. And therefore also signatures and so on. And it also connects to payments really. The payment rails, the digital euro. You can also see this if you look at a lot of the new regulations and the strategies coming out from the Commission and the Parliament, that they point to the identity wallet as a holder of different kind of credentials. Need to think of that. When it comes to what the wallet is, just a very easy slide, but it's the PID, the personal identification data, that says something about you. That needs to be issued by the government of every member state. And then it's a wallet that has to be accepted. It can be built by the government, it can be procured by the government, it can be a private wallet that is accepted by the government. So every country will choose a bit differently here. Sweden, we will have an open market. I think Greece will have just the government one. Germany has said that they will first have the government only and then allow private wallets. So it will depend a bit. And then you have the PID and you attach it, bind it to the wallet, and then you have an EU wallet. That means it's also, you get access to all of these things, because the wallet, when it's there and you have it, it's mandatory to be accepted by all the public administrations in the Union, but also every kind of institution that is using strong factor authentication, two-factor authentication, required by law or contract, and one of these ones is the banks. They usually are mandated to do that, so they will be in target of this in scope. And of course all the major online platforms, that is, for example, Amazon and Google and so on. And all of them are here, they're in large-scale pilots, they're very interested in this, and some are very positive, some are a bit more kind of conservative, but they are for sure working with it. And also, on a kind of global outlook, you can also see that the wallets are being, in one or kind of other different settings, being out there. Like in Ukraine with the D app, but also in the US, in Singapore, and so on. So the wallets is like, I would say, and argue the future of digital interactions, really. Deadline approaching. So now we started to go down in this kind of roller coaster. A lot of things happening. Of course, we have the large-scale pilots that I'm a part of. The large-scale pilots are a way for us, the ecosystem, to test out solutions, to come with proposals to the Commission, to the member states, to the standardization organizations. This works, this doesn't work, how should we do it? Test out the use cases. How can we make it happen? And then, of course, the deadline. The deadline is on the 24th of December this year. So by then, every member state should have a wallet provided. And of course, all of the institutions on the public side should accept it. The private comes a bit after, as you can see by the timeline. We already know that many will be late. The Dutch have said it officially. I think the Czech, I'm not sure how official, but official people from Czech Republic has posted it online, so I think that's kind of accepted. I think the Sweden will be a bit late. And I think the rollout will be a bit, it's not going to be a full rollout from any country, really. There are reasons for that.
There's still no national certification schemes out there, and as you saw in the previous slide, the wallets need to be certified, and that is very tricky because it's like certification on technology, and the technology in some instances don't really exist. Some of these things that is putting up here, like revocation, how you retract information that has been put into the wallet, the zero knowledge proof, how you prove something without actually showing the data. There's a common kind of, let's say, scenario for this one. People kind of want to explain zero knowledge proof, and that is like you go into a bar in the physical world and you show your identity, and they say like, well, you seem to be over 18, you can go in. If you do it digitally, of course, I'm over 18, but there's also a lot of other data that you normally show, and the idea with, of course, the wallet is that you should only be able to show the data that is needed for actually accessing the service. So I'm over 18 and nothing else. Also, that's part of the kind of selective disclosure. So it's a lot of things here that kind of moves, and it moves very fast actually on the technology side, but the standardization isn't moving as fast naturally. And also the implementing acts, that is legal acts that are kind of supporting the main act, the EIS2 regulation, they are not done, or sometimes they are now being revised as well. So when you speak to government officials about that, don't be too hard on them, because they have a difficult situation. So, I know that some of them are here, but honestly, it will probably not be possible to have a full-scale digital wallet by anyone on the 24th of December. The Commission doesn't like when I say that, but I think it's true. Although, I mean, there are a lot of resources out there, open source solutions from the Commission, from member states, or playgrounds in France, in Germany, and other cases as well, the large-scale pilots, but still a lot of things will be tricky. We have the business wallet as well, that kind of takes away some of the work from EIS2, but then makes it a bit more tricky. It's about the legal identity of organizations. So yeah, I'm going to say something about the outcomes of the about the large-scale pilots, some suggestions, some thoughts about this. The idea with this picture is actually to show how kind of big the ecosystem around it. This is just two of the large-scale pilots, right? So there are one other is ongoing aptitude. It's not as big as Webuild, but it's almost. And then there were 3 others with the EWC. So that means over like 500-600 organizations working with this. Many people, a lot of money as well. And it tells me also that there are a lot of interest on this, because if you would be able to zoom in here, you see a lot of private actors as well. So it's not just a government kind of play. I think it's important to recognize as well that this is not just something that some policymakers kind of came up with and said like, this is the best idea, you need to do it. Also, the ecosystem in many ways actually want it as well. In EWC, we did use cases in travel and payment organizationally. I'll say something about that. I will come back to Webuild. One of the, of course, discussions about the wallet is like, how will people actually want to have it? Do they want to use it? A lot of the focus, honestly, has been on technology and technology development. There's a lot of tech providers around here, but we did some user surveys and user tests in EWC. And as you can see by the numbers, people are kind of happy about it, and also trusting the wallet. It's not a huge test, but it's conducted by Amadeus and Lufthansa. So kind of big players in the whole travel ecosystem. And they were very positive about it. What they did was different styles of usage of wallets, but basically having a boarding card in the wallet and so on. And you can say and argue like that, well, you kind of can have that already, right? But the thing is that people seem to understand that this is a bit of a different thing with the wallet, and it's also providing me some kind of more security and privacy improvements as well. These studies can be found on the EWC homepage. Same thing with payments. These numbers go down a bit here because I think people are very accustomed already to using this. But also when you kind of bundle things, so here you actually bundle one person's identity and their possibility to make a payment using their money, and still people think this is kind of good and actually better than some of the already existing solutions that's out there. So it also tells us that when we try it in reality, it seems to kind of go quite well, which we didn't know when we started, so I'm quite happy about that. But again, they request a bit more on clear benefits here and also reassurance on data protection. So it's very important, of course, to make something tangible, show it, how does it look like, touch and feel and all of these things, but also to ensure that you have a really good communication about why is this something else, why it is more secure, and how is it protecting your data. And of course, everyone are aware of these discussions. But I'm very much convinced that the wallets are pretty much the best way we do have to actually protect our personal data as it is. I sometimes say that this is like GDPR in a technical manner. You get your data and you control it. You see it, you control it, you can use it, and you decide on that, not some other person. And it's also in a lot of cases kind of visual, so you see the data. You can kind of, with your human eyes, understand it. It's very hard for most people to understand a database with a lot of data points in it. It doesn't make sense to us, at least if you're not really good at that. And also, it actually worked. So I think Dorian is here, Bank of Transylvania, Romania's forefront on this one. So in EWC, we did, as far as we could, by the standards, regulation, and so on, a real implementation. So this is a Romanian citizen with a Romanian bank, had a Visa card, bought a ticket at a fair in Greece. She wanted a reduction because she was at a certain age, so she could disclose that. Got the ticket in her mobile phone, in her wallet, went to Greece, onboarded the ferry, was able to show the ticket and could make this ferry journey. This is the first actual use of the wallet with the payment that is done. And 1/3 of the parties here are Romanian, so good done, well done. I mean, it's really cool, and we also added a lot of other features into this online card payments and so on. So strong customer authentication, if someone is interested in this, is tested also in this. It's very important for the banks, especially. So what about use cases? I mentioned some of the use cases. People always ask me about use cases. What should we do? What is the best use case? And the truth is that there is no golden use case. And I really like to emphasize that. I don't think there's like one case that will solve everything, drive adoption, make it clear, make it good, and so on. It's not how it works. It's not how it's meant to work as either. The wallet is an enabler for a lot of things, and it's, again, an infrastructure. I tried to make a picture of this with help the great tools that we do have now, because I'm not good at UX, but the words here are from me. But again, if you remember the second picture I showed you from the commission there, an infrastructure, what this is actually enabling you is to have an interoperability layer. In the interoperability layer between your government entities, but also with the private sector, it harmonizes data over Europe, makes it easier to talk to each other. It's a citizen channel, communication channel. They can speak to the government can speak to them. I know it's you, you want these credentials, I have these credentials, I can use them elsewhere. Reduces fraud. Kind of clearly we can see that in some cases. User control, of course, one of the big things. It also reduces a lot of friction. It goes faster. You can see that in the airline case, you can see it in the payment case, but you can also see it when you look at the interactions with government. If it's already set that you are a person, you're this person, you have these credentials, you can bundle the credentials. So I'm a person, I'm a student, I have money. You can attest for this, all of these things in an instant. Reduces a lot of friction, makes it faster. People are more satisfied. So that's not a use case, but it's an enabler of use cases. And it also goes into this kind of automated data flows, right? Once only principle comes in here. You want to show your data once. It's hard to structure that, right? How do you do that? But if you have it in the wallet and you can control it and you send it in, and the institutional, of course, organization, so on, that's harmonized, it's easier to kind of handle the data. Also allows for the business wallet, legal entity, of course a big one. I'm a restaurant owner. The restaurant does have to have a lot of permits, not only like I'm a person that owns a restaurant, but the restaurant actually, we can serve this food, we have these different licenses and permits and so on. The connections with the government goes much faster, and with others as well. We did procurement cases and so on. It's part of the simplification strategy of the Commission. And also this one, the new kid on the block, the agentic AI, that everyone is kind of using already. They are there, they're in the platforms, but they also, of course, act outside of their respective platforms. When they do that, I think we want to know that there's some kind of human in the loop, and also that there's some kind of organizational connection, right? Because that is traceability, it's a chain of trust really, and ensures that you can make someone liable if something goes wrong, and kind of control the agents as well. MasterCard and Google came out with one thing that they call verifiable intent. It's very much looks like what we're already kind of working in here, but in the EU we actually have a better situation than many other regions because we have a good kind of trust environment built up with all the institutions and so on. That's part of here. I will still mention some of the use cases though, just to give you an idea. And I'm mentioning these use cases not because I think them great, it's because these are use cases from WeBuild that the ecosystem wanted. So we asked them, what do you want to do with the wallet? We got in 67 proposals, like 5 pages, all of them, relying parties, merchants, whatever, into this. So we had to trim it down a lot, ended up with these ones, and still people proposing more use cases every day to us on the coordination side, which I'm not part of right now, but still. And you can see like the massive amount of different use cases or ideas that people do have here, and all of them have at least 20 actors connected to them, government and private, NGOs, research institutions, and so on. Invoices, trusted sources, payments in different ways. It also tells us like that the ecosystem is here, they want to do something, they are already working with us, with it, so we need to kind of, I'm not government anymore, but I feel so, but support that. So general conclusions of this, still, you saw the use cases, you saw the interoperability layer, the standards and so on, and it's very complex. The chicken and egg problems comes into this. The chicken and egg problem is like this. I'm a user, let's say I have a wallet, I don't get any credentials. So now my wallet is useless. Or I get some credentials, but I can't use them because the one who's relying on them, they don't have the integration at their side, so they can't understand the credentials. So now I'm getting pissed off because I have a credential and the responding party can't understand it, right? That means that you kind of need to work with the whole ecosystem. You can't just provide a wallet, or you can't just provide credentials or verifying capabilities. You need to provide it, all of them, and you need to kind of do it at the same time with a lot of different actors. The speed, very fast. I've been, of course, in digital identity for many years.
nothing happened in digital identity for a long time. And then it's just the wallets and it's kind of exploded and it goes really, really fast. Agentic AI is just one of these things and it's a huge thing, you know, but it just came these last 2 years basically. I think private-public cooperation is essential. I think it's, you know, if you don't have that, it won't work due to, of course, the chicken and egg problem, but also the kind of whole adoption of the wallets. Why would people use it if I just have like one government credential? It's not that interesting. I just log into one service once a year. Do I want a wallet for that? No, probably not. But if I have a wallet with identification and I have my gym membership and I can make payments and I can show that I'm a student, then you're starting to get something like it's a build-up phase and it kind of scales kind of rapidly with more credentials in it. But you need the private part there. Also, of course, the government can't cover everything, right? But you need a clear government strategy for doing that. You need to think about it. Also, to relieve some pressure on everyone. Much is already actually done. As I said, we have a lot of use cases. Technology has been developed. There are a lot of players here that want to sell or show or give different parts of the ecosystem. And there are solutions out there that can be put together and used and so on. So it's there. The devil is in detail, of course. Integration is tricky and you need to kind of figure it out, but it's still a lot of things there. You can pretty much set up a wallet kind of easily today. If you want an EDI wallet, you need some more because there's security layers, and you need the PID from the government and so on, but it's still doable, I think. And also, like with that said, it is a future. It's a future of identity, really, and a future of data exchange. If the AI doesn't change everything in like 1 month, we'll see. But apart from that, I think it's safe to say that everyone is working with it globally, nationally, EU, other regions. For Romania then, just some ideas on this, you know, you could correct me afterwards and so on. But I think like a kind of goes into the general points anyway. It's very similar for most of the countries, but I think the immaturity of the ecosystem says that you shouldn't do a like full-scale campaign, roll it out, this is the wallet now, everyone will use it and so on. You kind of need to do a step-by-step process. Otherwise it's going to be, I think people will be disappointed essentially, because it won't work perfectly from the start. So you need to roll it out more slowly. There are also and we know this already, that components and standards and solutions will come. So like you can have an issuer today, but you need an issuer that can understand zero knowledge proofs in a while and so on. So there are things that you kind of need to do. So you need to build it modular, step by step again. If you don't do it again, you probably get stuck. And that's not something, of course, possible. Positive people won't like it. So I kind of said this also to others, you know. So focus on minimum viable product, a wallet, neat UX extremely important. User test, user service, all of these things need to be done. There are neat experiences and already, you know, background checks and what people have done already. So you can kind of just look at that, but you need to work with that, I think. I also like this idea with using technical sandboxes. Technical sandboxes, that means that you provide an environment where you can test out the solutions, ensure that you understand, and it's doable with a few parties, and then you kind of expand it as you go. And again, find the private-public partnerships. I just did I should maybe use the AI for this, but I did on my own, a picture of this, right? So you have a kind of foundation here already in Romania with the EID card and RoID and so on. You can probably use that. And then, like, I would think that technical sandbox for the government, because the government are, of course, key importance here. They need to understand how it works to actually discuss with the private side. And also, of course, government are kind of mandated to provide the more essential credentials. And then kind of expand that toolbox to involve private citizens, private companies, and then look at some of these use case areas where you find
like digital mature people that want to use this, that where you can also bundle credentials. It's not just one credential. You can also have like a couple of credentials in there. And with that, I have to say thank you. If you want to discuss, I will be here, of course.
Yeah, I would do a short, like maybe if you have questions, let's like take it like this, and you believe that it's for the use of everyone, feel free. I would encourage you to and ask David maybe to answer 2 or 3 of your questions, and then you can follow up and hunt David networking session afterwards, so we don't prolong this. So if anyone has 1, 2 questions, please jump in. Try to be as short as possible with the question as well.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you tell us about the interoperability standards used successfully so far? Thank you.
Interoperability standards. Well, I mean, can you explain what you mean by that?
So we want to build a e-wallet that accesses all institutions in one country, but also other institutions abroad in a European environment. What would be best in your opinion, or what was best use for this case?
Okay, so that's a huge question, but it's there. You can. What you need to do is you need to look at the implementing acts and then the standards that they refer to. So like interoperability layer on different levels, but like the protocols that are mainly being used is SDJ and MDL. So you need to look at that. You need to have that. And then the kind of connections to the government, there's another question. So you need to look into that, to all of these ones. Of course, there isn't one single answer to this. It's a kind of a package that you need to kind of look into. But it's there, you can find it, and it says what you should use. Of course, the problem, once again, a bit is that some of these things are being revised or updated. So in the beginning, a lot of people worked with DIDCOMs and so on that went out, and now we have some other protocols that's being used for formatting of the credentials and so on. So I can't answer that more specific than so. You need to kind of sit down and go through it, what you actually want to achieve with the different endpoints and so on.
Yeah, on your last slide, you kind of suggested that government should try to build this wallet by themselves, and after a while let the commercial entities to also offer some wallets on the market. But government should, in your opinion, do this with their own force, their own programmers and specialists, or they should do this by contracting private companies, because at the end it seems to me that you are always go to private companies. What's the difference? Why did you advocate for this solution?
I think for different reasons. I think it depends on, like, of course, what you have, what kind of people you have, and so on on the inside. But I think when we see the different countries how they work, the countries that seem to be most successful, they have a mix of it. So they have an internal strength. They have people that actually knows the government, they know technology and so on. They can they have good product owners and so on, and they mix it up with specialists from the private side to kind of get that mix inside of the government, I think. Also, it's of course a strategy question, but I think that people expect the wallets to be provided by the government. At least there is a government wallet, and then it can be private as well. And then you kind of need to ensure that is built up in a good way. If the government procures the wallet completely, I think that's a completely viable option. I would still advise any government, though, to have internal capacity to kind of handle that. If they don't have it, it will be difficult for the private company because the demands will be unclear to them. And there will be miscommunication. I think building internal expertise in the government is important, because this is not only, like, as I said, it's a private-public partnership, and I would suggest you kind of need to form that along all of the ways, really.
Isn't it a problem that in your scenario, the people who are building the wallet actually will also write the scheme? They will go to be in the position to check themselves and maybe have some shortcuts in the scheme in order to cover their technical issues?
Could happen. But I mean, it's always like that, right? So are people? I mean, it depends on what people you can recruit, right? And how good they are at what they're doing. But of course, if it's government, more transparency, I hope. So people will kind of look into that.
Thank you, I said, for the benefit of time. Thank you, David.